In the grim darkness of the 41st millennia, Chaos Legions find themselves fighting a war on two fronts. The Imperium faces the relentless assault of the Dark Mechanicum and the Slaneshi Heralds. Pushing deep into Agripinaa, their fleets are an amalgam of perfect steel and pulsating flesh. The population of Agripinaa have called out for salvation, and it shall be given, through rapturous pleasure and succulent slaughter. The tech priests of the Dark Mechanicum have tapped into forbidden knowledge, harnessing the power of ancient and untested Archeotech. They are accompanied by the former 3rd Legion of the Adeptus Astartes, the Emperor's children. They proudly profligate their bodies for the Prince of Pleasure. Sophoric sirens screech from their ships, seeking to seduce and subvert souls for Slanesh. Malos Vrykan's campaign of Orc genocide gains ground as he surrounds himself with the forces of the Plague Father. He strikes a dark alliance with the traitor warboss Gorspitter, offering the flesh of a space titan in exchange for his loyalty. This emboldens their crusade to wipe out the Orc menace.
For the glory of Nurgle.
Heresy and Destruction Unleashed is a chilling reminder of the Chaos's endless thirst for blood and mayhem. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more thrilling updates from the grim dark of the 41st millennium. And so we arrive at Thracia Primaris. Malos Vrykan and Arban Talos of the Alpha Legion have come to crush the final Orc stronghold. Alright, so the fleet is set into our normal sort of L-shaped formation, but we're going to run 2 lines this time. We've also got the light cruisers on the outskirts here as our long-range support and scouts. We have a couple of launch bays on these light cruisers. Arban Talos's The Sin of Envy was a battleship that we stole from the Adeptus Astartes. It's got a nice arranged long-range weaponry on board. It's got a Nova cannon as well. Now the defensive emplacements are right in the center here. They don't offer much in the way of resistance, but they will sort of limit our ability to maneuver. So we're going to push up and attack them before the first Orc wave comes. There's 2,500 points worth of Orcs in this battle. Alright, so we've engaged the defense platforms from extreme range. Sent out some fighter scouts to try and get... There's a big wave of strike fighters coming in. So I'll set up a bit of a screen there. Think there might be too many fighters though. That is a lot of fighters. Whoa. That means there's a very heavy carrier or there's of some description in the background. We haven't really seen much in the way of large warships yet, besides these battleship classes. I'm going to turn Arban through this asteroid belt and stealth him up before that wave of fighters, yeah? That's the way to get out of that little predicament. They'll be back in a minute or two. Better get the rest of the fleet underway, move the scouts up to try and see exactly what we're dealing with. Keeping in mind that as soon as Orcs are spotted, they like to charge at you. I managed to take out 2 defense platforms relatively quickly. Like I said, they are not much resistance in the way of stopping us from our advance anyway. Other factions have very strong defense platforms, but that's not the case with the Orcs.
Enemy ship sighted.
Alright, so we've made contact with the first of this fleet.
Locking weapons.
They seem to have taken some damage.
Send engines to full ahead.
Maybe it wasn't a full strength fleet that we actually attacked. If that's the case, that's scary because there's still 2,500 points worth of them. They're really going to charge at my escorts. So we'll set up a nice little line of fire here and just pick off anyone that charges.
Enemy ship sighted.
Nice easy work there of the lead element of Orcs. But there are a lot of blips. We're in for some fighting, that's for sure.
Setting course.
Okay, we're going to set back, course back towards these clouds. I want to try and keep stealth as quickly as possible. We are running in a single line now. Changed up the battle tactics somewhat. Going to get these escorts out to relative safety, sort of kiting the orcs to chase them as much as we can. Now they've seen the lead ship, the Litany of Damnation, but they haven't spotted the rest of our formation. So we'll get a Nova Cannon here. Trying to stack some easy, quick damage up.
As the War Master wills.
A little bit of damage there, and a ship has detonated within the formation. So something was taken out.
Doomfire's unleashed.
They've sent fighters out there to put a screen over those guys, but they're in for some big trouble. Sin of Envy has very powerful lance weaponry. We'll send out a probe, and let's try and attract the rest of the fleet.
Enemy ship sighted.
Trying to put some distance between us and those orcs.
Enemy ship sighted.
Yeah, this whole fleet is damaged.
To the slaughter. Moving to the
That means that there's a lot of ships here.
enemy ship sighted.
They did cop a couple of invasions over the last couple of turns, but I thought they repaired that. Keeping in mind that the Orc War also let this system is under the effect of an Orc War, and that means that they can use double the reinforcements that they normally would get too.
Show us our victims.
So despite having some early victories, I'm not getting complacent. The Orcs don't like to be underestimated.
For the War Master.
Got a nice broadside firing line happening here. Not in an actual line, but enough to cover everybody.
Doomfire's unleashed.
Bunch of torpedoes coming in. They won't present too much of a problem. Now that our escorts have lost their aggro, we're going to put them back into the fight.
Reporting.
Got a line abreast formation, but due to the differing speeds of all of our ships, we're going to take a little while to form up that. Just trying to keep them at optimal range. I'm going to turn around and drop in another Nova Cannon. Try and take out the light ships, and then we can focus down the heavies. Nova Cannon charging. We are at complete vulnerability when that is charging. So you always have to have distance when you drop it.
Doomfire's unleashed.
Light cruisers are doing effective harassment here. They're free reign, basically.
Strike team slaughtered them.
We managed to capture some data battle plans, so we'll get him out of the fight. We don't want to lose those. Fleet is now forming up into their required formation. And we've managed to keep the orcs at arm's length. Here we go, the major boost attack.
Fire's unleashed.
They are coming in from our rear, so we'll drop some teleports on them. Maybe not. We might get away.
Reporting.
Maybe not. Maybe we're going to get hit. Turn. Just so they don't hit the rear armor, and then we can block them. That worked out rather well.
Executing high energy
We're going to turn him around to counter this other orc just in case he makes it through, but he's detonating as well. Excellent job. Oh no, we've been overrun.
Master.
I should have escaped both of those light cruisers at the same time.
Send engines to
Try and get him to escape. But he now has a bunch of orc boys on board fighting him furiously.
warp strike successful.
Minor mistake there. I don't know why I escaped one of them.
Show us our victims.
Meanwhile, we managed to form up our formation. We'll send some reinforcements back to the Sin of Envy.
We'll follow your
Want to keep her crew levels nice and high.
setting orders.
We may get off the field, or we may come a floating wreck. And we got off just in time with one crew remaining.
Show us our victims.
That leaves us an extra few points for reinforcements, but we'll keep them in reserve for now. Send out a fighter screen. We are completely revealed to the enemy. So the next thing they're going to want to do is charge at us. Sin of Envy is hiding inside the asteroid belt. Being a larger warship, she takes less damage from that kind of damage.
We stand ready.
Alright, the orcs are coming in, and it's not ideal to be going straight at them. But we've run out of space, and if you look at the minimap, they are everywhere. They're still coming, despite all the losses they've taken. They are sort of trapping us in this corner of the map, so we need to push back a bit, be a bit more aggressive, and get our main 4 weaponry from the ships onto the orcs. Strike craft coming in. We're going to keep the Sin of Envy here, just as a little stealth sniper, and to form a little blocking force for those other orcs heading down from the galactic north.
We are unstoppable.
Nice and close together. We're going to try and push past this. We're still going to be trapped on this side of the map, but it's giving us more time. Bring in a reinforcement cruiser. Alright, we're going to turn towards them. Give us a bit of breathing room. Form up a strong 4 firing line. We'll get the Sin of Envy underway. Send out her probe. And see if we can't spot this orc formation coming in. So far, the only thing we've had to fight is sort of cruisers and lighter. And we certainly do have a density of firepower at the moment. If the orcs were to get off an effective charge now, it would not be ideal. So we'll keep the ships moving. They are very close. Fortunately, the orcs don't really have any area of effect weapons besides their rams and their torpedoes.
Show us our victims.
Drop a Nova Cannon on somebody. This guy here will do. Moving nice and slow. We're completely concealed.
Your orders.
Form up an actual battle line and we'll head towards this stealth cloud here. Reset our scouting.
Doomfires unleashed.
The biggest mistake the orcs make is boosting ahead with all their light ships.
For the ruinous power.
If they waited and did it with everybody, then they would be in some trouble. We did steal some of their tactics somewhat, using Nurgle's forces to do crazy amounts of boarding actions with suicide iconoclast destroyers. Alright, our line astern is doing okay. We're going to turn the battleship around and we're going to try and form a V formation, so we got fire coming from 2 angles. Has the added benefit of everyone getting the chance to recloak their signature. Send out another probe. The orcs are starting to get fairly close, but we have a very solid line forming up. We'll bring the Litany of Damnation back across and we'll have a 2-line formation. Oh, we've had a collision here. Just as the orc ship detonated, she's collided with one of our battle cruisers.
Reporting.
More light ships on the way. The orcs haven't really been able to get too close to us this match. I've learned a few lessons fighting these guys. The rear of the formation is lagging behind a bit. They are the guys that are still spotted, so that's why the orcs are going for them. Sin of Envy's got a little bit of a escort now in the form of a light cruiser. Maneuvering around the asteroid belt, as the lighter cruisers and battle cruisers don't like asteroid belts at all. Also gives the orcs something to boost through.
Show us our victims. As the Warmaster wills.
Malos Vrykan is a very seasoned fighter of orcs now. We've learned a few lessons, as I said, fighting these little buggers.
Your orders.
And now we're teaching them a thing or two. Once this stronghold is secured, we'll be heading off to another system to farm some space fishies so that we can secure an alliance with an enemy warboss.
Fires unleashed.
Once that alliance is secured, we'll be able to confront the main enemy warboss, Blitzripper, and we shall fight him in combat.
Orders.
But most orc war bosses usually control a space Hulk or space titan of some description. So you can't fight them with the class of ships that we have at the moment,
We'll follow your command. But
as well as the accompanying fleet that he no doubt has. Get in some glorious cinematic shots of our line formation as it snakes its way throughout the final orc system. I think there's maybe one other, but it has very little in the way of defenses. This one here was churning out fleet after fleet of dastardly green-skinned scum. Getting the overwhelming boarding actions on board this space rock.
fear us, for we strike from the war.
And we're making pretty quick work of these guys.
I cannot, master.
Each ship getting its turn as it weaves past. Sin of Envy's had it pretty easy after finding this asteroid belt. We'll drop an Eye of the Omnisire on that rock to slow it down a little bit.
Our strike team slaughtered them.
Now it looks like we've got one final ship making its way onto the field now.
Show us our victims.
Pretty safely say we can go head on with this guy.
Moving to those coordinates.
And he's agreed. He's hit the boosters. Gigantic mash of orc technology and rocks and pure willpower. But it's not enough. Chaos Fleet is well designed and well coordinated. And so the orc genocide will soon come to an end, I believe. Couple more fights in this system. We'll do the Space Fishy mission next. And then we shall move on to our main task, which is to mess with the Imperium. We did have a couple of losses, the light cruiser that I threw away, but otherwise that was a remarkably easy mission despite the points disparity that the orcs had against us. So we got a decent reward in the form of more renown points. Very, very close to getting some decently sized warships. So we rested and refitted, and we've come to the Nerivian Expanse, which is a place that offers really good hunting for space fishies. The force composition will be the standard amount of battleships, our 2 battleship flagships, as well as a light cruiser scout formation, and the rest is all battle cruisers. The Hades class has been very reliable in all of our battles against the orcs. We've lost a few throughout the campaign, but that's okay. That's what they're designed for. Mission briefing is Archrist Vane has invited Gorespitter, an orc warboss, to fight alongside us against Blitzripper, who's the leader of the orc war.
Space Titans. Magnificent creatures, are they not? But ultimately defenseless before the might of the faithful. But still dangerous if we approach without care. If rammed by such a beast, our hull will crumble.
That is a big fish.
Here, what's all this? These are my fishies! Hands off!
Captain Razgob is not impressed that we're taking his space fishies.
On whose behalf we have come hunting. I work for Gorespitter! You won't kick me out of my chief! My
Well,
boys will
we're
kill
already
that
harvesting the fish. Kill the fish quick, and it'll make him really angry, I think. Plus, it'll stop this thing from getting in the way of our fleet as it goes past. Very, very strong.
So very typical of green.
Just don't run into them, basically.
Even to kill a lumbering beast. I spy you, boy.
Whoa, there's some fighter squadrons coming in. We need to send up a defensive screen. But I think they're okay, we've got our first Orc battleships. I haven't seen these things yet. Battleship De Horde and Battleship Death Dealer. We haven't fought anything like that in our invasions and fights against the Orcs. We just had hordes and hordes of cruisers and space rocks. It's inevitable that we'd run into something bigger. Oh, the amount of fighters are just ripping the defensive turrets off of our battle cruisers. Drop down an Eye of the Omnicide to try and slow him down, but it looks like he's moving way too fast. Oh, it's not going to slow him down. We haven't fought anything big, like I said, so I don't know exactly how resilient this thing's going to be. And we've got another two in the background. We've got an absolute butt ton of torpedoes coming for us. And we're going to have to turn through that, unfortunately. The line is just going to have to take that. Trying to get the defensive fighters up, but they are just getting chewed as soon as they leave the hangars. The Orc battleship has recharged its fuel and he's coming through again. Fortunately, now our Eye of the Omnisire in the background there is blocking the rest of the fleet as we try to deal with this crazy Orc battleship. He's forced himself into the middle of our V formation. But we need to try and get some crew back on board the Sin of Envy. Alright, the area of effect has worn off, and so the fleet are free to let loose all of those torpedoes. Look at them all. We have lost all the defensive turrets on our battle, the Litany of Damnation. Those fighter squadrons just stripped the hull of all of its AA mounts. We need to get this guy around, get him out of call of arms so that he can speed up a bit. Oh, that spread of torpedoes is going to hit. Fortunately, not doing much damage. But here come the next reply. So this is different tactics. We're going to have to turn away from that. She's taken too much damage. You're out of the fight, sir. Got these guys here trying to block the space fish because I didn't want them to have a running action against us while the fish come through the middle of our formation. But we are in some big trouble here. If these battleships boost, we are screwed. Managed to take one down. That's done a fair amount of damage to the morale of the other Orc ships. We've got another battle cruiser that needs to get the hell out, but she's just lost her engines, so we're going to turn her through the formation and have her blocked a little bit so she doesn't take any extra damage. Our ships are nice and close, so they're blocking all fire through the line. Trying to wiggle her away and keep some ships between her and the Orcs. Battle cruisers are worth 100 resources, so we don't want to lose them for no reason. Learning to preserve the ships will help us in the long run and be extremely helpful when we try and fight with bigger warships that cost a lot more. Oh, they're boosting at the battleships. We need to move them out of the way. Sin of Envy getting away just in time. Battle cruisers are trying to fight an Orc ship that are a mutinous crew on board, so they're not really a threat to us. But we still need to finish him off. Fortunately, that Orc ship boosting through the formation has missed completely. My defensive screens managed to take down another Orc ship as well as a Space Titan. Very chaotic fight, this one. The Orcs bringing much more resilient weapons to to the fight. That battleship is still going. Fortunately, she didn't hit anything on her crazy boosts through my formations. I've already had one ship hit into the next dimension by a orc ram, and that was only by a light cruiser. Or an orc normal cruiser. Some cinematic shots there of the fight. And off in the distance you can see something emerging from a void cloud. Something with a huge sensor reading. What could it be? This battleship just is refusing to go down. She might actually catch up with our formation. She's not deterred by the boarding actions. We need to hit all ahead and all ahead. Get out of her way. She has absolutely no maneuverability while she's in that state, so they can be easy to dodge if you're aware of them. Super Void Shield activated on both the flagships. She's now pinned between our battle cruisers. And the final battleship is going to be destroyed. The orcs' impetuous nature leading to their downfall. We've got another one coming in here, a rear, and it's going to hit our escort, our light cruiser. Oh, it's a battle cruiser. No. Okay. Alrighty, I shouldn't have left that battle cruiser there in such a crippled state. I just thought it was a light escort. No matter. Plenty more where they came from, and Chaos is bound to have some losses in its campaign to conquer this galaxy.
We stand ready.
The Litany of Damnation is fairly damaged. She's down to 33% hull. And we have a Space Titan, or a Space Hulk rather, emerging from the mist, pushing the Space Titan carcass out of the way in a furious bid to chase down our formation. And we're not going to do that. We're not going to stay near him. We're going to fly away. Fighting that thing at close range would be absolute suicide with our fleet composition. So what we're going to do is we're going to get maximum range and just kite it. Really, that's the best way to fight it. So we'll set up a line formation behind the Litany of Damnation, and we will move through the shield, through the cloud rather, and stealth our formation. And then we'll fight it at maximum range, because look at that that zapper weapon, just brutalizing the shield and getting through and still hitting the hull on that battle cruiser.
For the War Master! Moving to those coordinates.
See, we're not even doing much to get through the shields. I'm going to drop an Eye of the Omnicide to slow her down.
We stand ready.
Not letting that thing boost at us.
Heavy damage.
And we can effectively pin her there now with that particular ability. And as long as we stay outside of the range, I've got 2 more I can drop on her. Send some boarding actions. I believe it's used up all of its fighters, sending them in huge waves. Get into the cloud, keep the Sin of Envy nice and safe.
As the War Master wills.
Got a mutinous crew making their way off to the edge of the battlefield. The Disciple of Temptation battlecruiser Hades is going to exit the battlefield as well. And we've lost a ship somehow. Hit the Super Void Shield. Sin of Envy taking a massive zapper weapon.
Your orders.
Get those shields up before the weapon recharges.
Reporting.
We'll get the Space Titans off priority list and put the Space Titan...
For the War Master.
Oh, that's confusing. The Space Fishies shall be priority 4, and the Orc Titan shall be priority 1.
Show us our victims.
Got 30 seconds until I can drop in another Eye of the Omnissiah, but the boarding actions have him on call to arms state, which means he won't be able to use any of his abilities, so we'll keep dropping those on him. I think the Space Titans, the larger warships, their main weakness will be strikecraft and boarding actions. I don't know, that one's got a lot of crew on it. Maybe not, who knows. I'm using a mod, and this is the first time I'm playing the Skalgrim mod. So we're going to see a lot of different things in the next few episodes. Stay tuned for it.
Your orders.
Line formation is set. Everyone has masked their signature. And our strike craft have arrived on the Orc monstrosity.
Setting course.
We'll drop down the Eye of the Omnissiah again to make sure he doesn't go anywhere.
Reporting.
Now, boarding actions are doing okay. Not fantastic.
Show us our victim.
The stolen Space Marine battle barges have very, very good boarding actions. They do a lot of damage. So at call to arms state, he's still losing 2 to 2.5 crew every step. It may just get him down to the next crew step.
We'll follow your command for now.
So the ferocity of the battle sort of winded down a little bit. Things are looking a little bit more even-tempered. We've got them under control. Just mindful not to run into that formation of space fish to the galactic north.
We stand ready.
Alright, now we're starting to chew through his armor.
Show us our victims.
As we get around the side, we'll do more damage, I think. Maybe. It's got a lot of engines there we could take out.
For the War Master.
Final boarding pods are arriving. I don't think I've got any charges left on any of those abilities. And we are back into firing range. Making sure to deselect the fishies. Plenty of time to hunt them after the fight. They do look pretty cool though.
Your orders.
We'll make a close flyby so that the crew can see what we have to deal with.
Reporting.
Space Hulk is like lost all the wind out of its sails. It's barely moving, even under boost. He's moving at 60. And this is what we wanted. Not so scary when they can't move.
Engines hot.
Though fortunately we did gear our fleet for long range fights. I wouldn't want to get close still, he'd still melt us.
Show us our victims.
Dropping another charge of our Nova Cannon on this guy.
Doom fires unleashed.
Keep him nice and still because our boarding actions will run out. But he's pinned. You ain't doing nothing, boy. The Omnissiah wills that you remain still. Slowly chewing away all of his weaponry as well. And I think we have it. Victory.
The last of the barbarians have been eradicated. Good. Amusing as this was, more important matters demand our attention.
So despite how scary that fight was when the battleships got close, we did fairly well. We lost one battlecruiser from the Warfleet, and we lost an escort and a battlecruiser from the Alpha Legion fleet. Not too bad. We had a couple of major criticals, but because we own the system, it's now easy to repair.
But there's another price. I gets to kill Blitz Ripper or the deal's off. The boys won't follow me if I let you spikies do the hard work. You may claim whatever heads you wish, so long as you keep to the bargain. Then the deal stands! To war! All skulls belong to Khorne! And it may not be wise to allow Gorspitter to rise too high. You need have no concerns, either of you. There will be skulls aplenty to offer great corn. And Gorspiter? His future, and that of the Wa itself, is to be very...
I gotta say, joining forces with Chaos to fight other orcs is a pretty stupid move on any level. But that's okay, whatever. We give them space flesh and they will join our side. If you liked the video, make sure to come back next time. Commander Tyrael, out.